of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson.
Well, hey everybody, this is Jeanne Robertson. I got a can of Pringles here. If you were, let me get the microphone up. It's hard to eat Pringles and hold the can and do it all. If you joined us yesterday, I was seated in the Houston Intercontinental Bush Airport. Oh, hey everybody. I see all the comments and I appreciate it. But, and I had this Pringle can. I bought it for breakfast. I couldn't find a muffin. I couldn't find a pastry. I could not find yogurt. I couldn't get a smoothie. I was on a concourse that didn't have as many flights going out of it. And so I got my breakfast. I got a can of Pringles, a chocolate Hershey bar with almonds. I ate that whole thing fast. And I also had, come on in, Tony. Oh, you brought me something else to wash down? Thank you. And I also had some Fig Newtons. It's a good airport meal. And I can always, but this Pringle can fell on my computer right as we were waiting. Was it 30 minutes out? I was eating a few Pringles.
It was.
And it hit something and knocked all the video off. We worked, we tried, I punched buttons. Y'all said to punch F8, F8. Today, F8 worked on it, didn't it?
It did.
But
Thank y'all for that recommendation.
So Patrick's on the table. I'm going to put this Pringle can back down. These Pringles are all messed up because when I realized that the Pringle can had caused the trouble, not me. Not I took the Pringle can and I shook it as hard as I could and now have tiny little Pringles. I just wanted you to know I appreciated all of you that hung in there. We could get video, but and the people around me in the gate area, it was as though they were cheering me, punch this, do that. One woman's husband said, I can help you. And she said, don't you let him touch it. He messes my computer up all the time. So we're here today and I'm back home from Houston, a great place. And I'm on my back porch, and Tony's sitting over there with the computer, and Patrick's sitting over here. And you had on earbuds, but you took them off?
I did. I wanted to be able to hear you on the phone.
Oh,
so
okay.
I always test to see if we can hear by going to my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Patrick.
So when I get up and go outside, I'm not making a call.
I thought you were just rude.
Nope.
Or your child was coming in here bleeding again in the middle of the show. Is she okay?
She is now healed. It's amazing how fast a 12-year-old will heal.
That's
but
right.
Man, she milked it for everything.
I'm sure she did. A couple of weeks ago, right in the middle of it. Was that last week?
It's last week.
And I had a story to tell about your brother, Brent.
Yeah.
It involved your mother. It involved you. It involved Tony. It was the perfect setup. So Brent said he will drive back from Charlotte anytime I want to tell the story. So I'm going to hold off.
Yeah, let's hold off.
And the rest of you, we're just glad you're here. And I want to tell you that the show in Houston was me getting back on the road. I've been on the road, been doing theater shows, but this was like a booked speech. And it was for special needs children. And the group is called Be an Angel. And I thought I had seen fundraisers before, but these folks come with big hearts and big pockets, and they raised in around $442,000. And
wow.
They do things like
that's a Texas fundraiser.
Now it's the whole Texas. It's a Texas fundraiser, Texas size fundraiser. But now they've been given charge over the whole state of Texas to try to help for the equipment that they need. So it made you feel good. It was a good evening and lots of great folks. And I had a ball the whole time. Did 4 different things from the computer while I was down there, and did the pop-up on Thursday, and that worked. Then I had a call with a committee I'm on at Elon for an hour. That worked. Then I did Neil Steele's show on Friday, and that worked. And then sitting there and getting ready to get on my airplane the minute that hour was over, I was so proud and talking to Tony, and then that didn't work at all. So,
well, in fairness to you, we went over Wi-Fi, we went over connectivity. We didn't go over wayward Pringles cans.
I know.
So my fault. Sorry.
I'm going to throw this Pringle can at you in a minute. So let's get started, and let's get started. I've got lots of stories I want to share, and you tell me what to do about them today, and y'all have been most generous to do that. We sort of stumbled on that a couple of weeks ago when someone couldn't come at the very last minute. And so I just do some more. Now I've got some of my tablets out and got some stories to try today. And, but we have some guests coming too that are quite exciting at different times in the next couple of months. So we're just out here having a good time. Your suggestions, and yes, you have asked, when are we going to see the closet? Well, we can't do that next week because I'll be in Nashville for the Grand Ole Opry on Friday night and Saturday night. And then next week we do have a guest. And then the week after that, Beaver's here for Mother's Day weekend, and he's going to do it. But we will do the closet as quickly as we have another date with nobody coming in.
I don't think we ought to just brush over that. Beaver is coming for Mother's Day.
Beaver came. I have now got Pringle in my mouth. I was being effective to take a bite of it. Don't say
I'll riff.
Okay. So last July 11th, Beaver came, and y'all liked his show and have been saying, bring him back, getting Beaver to slow down and getting my grandsons to do the same thing was tough. But he's coming for Mother's Day weekend to be with me. And so he's going to be on the show that weekend. So lots in store. People you'll love to meet, and then things that Tony, and one of them is the closet. Somebody said they wanted to see how I also packed a suitcase.
That should be part of the closet show, don't you think?
Okay, yeah.
Using your packing station.
I have a packing station that we had built, and so yeah, that would work.
You should share that. But you're a good packer, obviously.
I'm an excellent packer.
Oh, now y'all are trying to make me feel good because all they could say was, you messed up the show yesterday with your Pringles can. So
I'm just glad since you stayed on live for another 15 minutes, we didn't say anything bad about anybody.
I know that.
We could have
kept talking. I didn't know whether they could hear me or not, and they could. Do we have any questions down here so far? Okay.
No, we really. Everybody's just saying.
I have to tell you
everybody's saying hello right now. So.
I have to tell you. I was just fishing for things to talk about, but I do believe if you keep your eyes and ears open, you will find humor if we're looking for humor. And I mentioned to y'all yesterday that they had just said over the loudspeaker system, will the passenger leaving your diaper bag, a large, nice diaper bag at security, please return and claim same? And I thought, would it be something if you didn't get your diaper bag and you got on the plane with a baby and had no diapers? I'm sure the flight attendants would ask people to give it to you, but just put yourself, Patrick, you can put yourself in this position. If the daddy was in charge of bringing the diaper bags through security and left them at security,
I put myself in that position all the time,
but not anymore.
But when you said did somebody leave their diaper bag, I'm picturing this little old man running back across to get his diaper bag.
87 years old getting his diaper. Oh, that's real funny for somebody. The other thing y'all ask me all the time is, this is not according to me. I've not seen this, but Tony, you say they ask for why I have such many bruises on my hands.
Yes. They do.
Can expound on that? Just a simple yes or no?
Just people will notice that you're bruised, and you are, but you're fine. You're just simple. Bruised easy.
I'm on blood thinner.
Yeah, along with half the world.
You can just put your elbow down right here on this chair. Half the world is, and there will be a bruise there. And when I'm at home, and I'm going to be home a few days, what I do is I wear tennis wristbands all over, up and down my arms. People think I'm nuts. It can be real hot. I'm sitting around in this, but then if you hit something, it doesn't bruise because you protected it. So that answers all of your questions. So, Tony, if anybody wants to know something else,
I will. All right,
let's give away something. Okay. This is coming from the April draw bag. Okay. And this is one of my prizes, except not the Audible book. And this is Judy Watson. Judy even had a question. Help me remember this. Were you funny? Were you a funny kid in school? How did you get started? Judy Watson, I'm going to tell this once today for all winners. You go to Tony, T-O-N-I, Tony with an I, at JeanneRobertson.com. You're going to put it on the screen. Thank you, Patrick. Hey, Look at us showing off. We're rolling
Quick
today.
draw.
So, and tell her what you want. You can have the copy of the book that came out it's almost been out a year. Don't bungee jump naked and other important stuff. And tell me to whom to sign that book. That's important. Make sure to tell us that. Or you can get DVDs. There are 9 of them. You can ask for one that you want, or CDs, or whatever you want. We have that baseball cap that says left brain that a lot of people like.
Got an interesting question if you want to take a shot at it from Susan Schaefer. What's the strangest thing you have had to use to jot down a story or a punchline?
Lipstick.
Lipstick.
Yeah. You know,
me too.
Yeah, sure. Lipstick, anything. Don't forget what it is. And I want to talk, Tony, write down, jot down versus write up. I want to explain that in a minute. Judy Watson wins the first prize, and that's your choice, but Tony does need to hear from you. And then, okay, here's another not a question. This is, okay. Carolyn Gary, Gageary. Okay. Carolyn Gary.
Okay.
And she wants the link with the Neil show again. Friday, I think it's the first time ever. I got on up at 4 a.m. because we're in a different time zone to get ready to hear him and plug in and listen 2 hours before I was on the Neil Steele show again. And I forgot to go back to Facebook. I think and get back to Facebook and put up the link for y'all to watch it, because that's what I've done every Friday. My apologies. See, I thought I'd done so well. But Carolyn Gary's our second winner right there. And let's give a third one. Okay, right now. Y'all gave prizes yesterday, though, didn't you? I wasn't.
A few. Yeah, we did like 3 prizes. Yeah. We were only on 10 minutes.
Jeffrey Sneed. Jeffrey Sneed, Snead. So Jeffrey Sneed, if you're listening, let Tony know what you want. Everything's up for grabs except the big Audible book, and that we'll give away one of those later. Okay, I've got some things I want to try to tell you about. Tony, you picked up your microphone. Why is that?
People are telling us things that help with our bruises. Frankincense oil, Madeline Spate said. And someone else gave another name, Dermond or something
Crisco
like that.
oil?
No, frankincense.
Frankincense.
Like the 3 kings.
Okay.
Frankincense and myrrh.
You remember? But frankincense,
I
I've never heard of that.
Okay.
But I've never heard that. And then there's some others coming in.
All right, ask her a question.
That's how Jesus healed them.
Yeah, we don't know what to do about frankincense oil.
Well, you have to find 3 wise men. And then
and some camels. Okay, write that down, Tony, because I'm doing everything. Somebody said put Vaseline as soon as you see.
I've got it written down. And then there was a second one that was DERMOND or something like that's a brand name.
Derma.
I don't know what that is. And someone else said that they call them their Plavix bumps because they get, that's what they take.
Okay.
And they get them all the time.
try Windex.
And I can tell you something else about it. Long sleeves help out a lot. I have a gown with long sleeves that I take on purpose if it's been a tough week. Okay. I wanted to tell you, I mentioned to you that I have all these tablets. This is just one handful with ideas. And I mentioned that I love these yellow tablets. There goes 3 pages on the floor. Yeah, 4, make that 4. 3, all of these tablets. And of course, the younger people wrote and they said, we thought when you said you need to get to a tablet when an idea comes, that you meant like something on the internet tablet. No, I still use the tablets, but you cannot imagine how many people, especially teachers, wrote and said, I use a tablet. I use one of those line tablets and I make notes on it all the time. So this lady, Sandy Elder from Seattle, Washington, sent me a couple of these little bitty, can you get a picture? They look just like the big tablets. They have little stripes and there's sticky notes. So I've put down the notes for today's shows. Thanks,
Those
Sandy. I
cute.
appreciate it.
Yeah, those are cute.
Yeah, these
the answer apparently is buy on Amazon these oils and then rub them on your bruises.
okay.
So we'll check on
aren't you
that.
Amazon Prime?
I am. We can do that.
Get me some of
I
that.
think you ought to try Quaker State. Not expensive as frankincense.
What did you say? Olive oil?
No, little Quaker State.
Now y'all are getting
Quaker stuff.
you're getting very silly. So let me tell you a couple of things. I do keep my eyes and ears open all the time. And I wanted to tell you the difference between somebody said, jot this down. I found out I used to keep ideas and I was looking for humor all the time, and I would jot down a word or two. And then when the time came to work on it, I couldn't remember what it was, because sometime I wouldn't get to that tablet till December, and I'd been at the speech or on that trip in April or so. I would look at it and stare at it, and I think, why did I write that down? So then it dawned on me, jotting something down wasn't the secret. Writing it up as fast as I could was the secret. And you don't have to worry about commas. You don't have to worry about, you're not turning in a manuscript. But you remember the little stories in Reader's Digest? The little funny stories they had plucked all around in there? I thought people would send them in. And they're just short in length. And that's what I started doing on my journals. Tony at first.
I'm agreeing with you. I remember when you did the journals program that you gave to a lot of speakers who wanted to know how to put humor in their presentations. Yeah. And the secret was, one of your big tips was, don't write down a word. Because I can remember you asking me a year later, do you know what this word might have meant when I wrote it down? It was something funny, and we have no idea.
Yeah.
But write it out. Like you say, doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to get it on paper.
And so I write down these little stories. And one time I came back in the room, I may have said this at some show, and I had a goal of finding one humorous thing at every speech. That could be the traveling to the airport, or it could be the way I set my journal system up would be. Remember, Tony?
Oh,
you said to me one time, people all want to know what you're doing. And I'm spending a lot of time telling people how to do this, and they're not going to do it. And that's because finding stories is not just my work. Finding stories is my hobby. So I just do it all the time. And I came back to the room, and Left Brain said, and he didn't want to go downstairs because there was a ball game on. And so he passed up the opportunity to hear me speak yet again. and he said, you find your story? And I said, yeah. And I told him what I found. And in a little while, he said, who'd you eat with? And I said, oh, the woman next to me was hilarious. And I told him a funnier story than I told him earlier. And he said, did you write that one up? And I said, no, once I got my one story, I quit. And I realized what I was doing. And so I said, if you would just travel with me all the time and ask questions like, what did the cab driver say? What did the woman who checked you in the hotel say? And he said, well, I'm not going to do that. But we fixed up a system where I would write them up. And here's an example. Left Brain and I were going, you've heard me tell several stories about going to Hawaii, him trying to transport the books, Tony's trip to Hawaii. But one time I had a speech there, and we always cash in our miles, and we go first class to Hawaii. It's about a 10-hour trip. And to tell you how sometime, you remember the time, Tony, I was going on a Wednesday and coming back on a Saturday, and Left Brain wouldn't go because of
but I would.
But Tony would. So I said, let's go. So, but Left Brain and I were going to Hawaii, and we were in first class. You have 2 seats in the middle, 2 seats on either side, with 2 aisles, and you have a lot more room and leg room. I have also flown it many times in coach. You're sitting between 5 people in a row with tiny seats, not much leg room. So save your miles and go first class if you can, or at least business class. And a family came on. And here was what the family made up of: the father, the mother, then a little boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old, and his sister, maybe a little older, and then the mother had a baby. Well, the mother knew the baby didn't have a seat. They had 2 seats at the window, 2 seats in the middle, and we were over here across from them. And then they were sharing whoever was going to hold the baby. And the baby was old enough to be like 9 months. She met the free time, the free ticket limit, which was 2, but she couldn't just be made to sit and be quiet. So the baby went to the mother, and then to the daddy, and then the older sister would hold the baby a little while, and the little boy, and it was fruit basket turnover from the time we left to go toward Maui from, I believe it was Atlanta, and that's a long flight. I even said to Left Right, do you think I should offer to hold the baby? He said, no, don't offer to bring the baby over here. But I wound up holding the baby a little bit, and it was just the whole section was assisting with this baby who didn't have a seat and didn't go to sleep until we were taxiing up to the gate in Hawaii. And the little boy was sitting facing, and we were all buckled up because it was time to get off. And the flight attendant had sat down facing backwards toward us, and she was special in the little boy. And and she said, is this your first trip to Hawaii? And he said, yes, ma'am, it's my first trip to Hawaii. But it's my daddy's last trip he'll ever go to Hawaii. And the whole plane burst out laughing. Because we know what he had been hearing the entire time. The last time I'm going to Hawaii with this whole family. So I thought that's a funny story. And that's a story of example of writing it up. It's not on tape yet. It's not on it. But if you're speaking in Hawaii, or if I'm speaking anywhere that is a long trip, it's a perfect story to use. And it's a true story. My daddy's last trip to Hawaii. Okay. And I see this is awful because I think it's funny, but I hear no laughter. If the two of you.
I laughed earlier when you told it. Sorry.
Oh, you heard me when I said I'm going to try.
By the way, for those of y'all who are commenting on, I have fixed the echo.
What was the echo?
Just a little echo. Had some effects going. I forgot about.
Well, what number did you punch?
It wasn't that bad. I hit F8.
F8?
Not really.
You want my Pringle can? Just hit it with a Pringle can. It'll do something.
No,
I don't know if it's right. Okay, let's try. Well, let's just try another one. Oh gosh, I've got them all down.
I have an idea. Why don't you tell about when you did the pageant for the friends we had, mutual friends we had from Auburn and
in Dillon?
Yeah, in Dillon, South Carolina. Remember
Dillon,
that?
South Carolina.
That was only about 60 years ago.
I know. But it was the Miss Dillon pageant, and the winner got to go to the Miss South Carolina pageant. But this is an example. Why don't I issue this as a challenge to all these people that are right here? Because I don't have a punchline. I know that story, and you do too, Tony, but it just never has gotten a punchline. So I save the story and keep hoping for punchlines. And sometimes I save punchlines and find a story that goes with them. But the problem was we were in Dillon, South Carolina. If you've ever gone up and down 95, it's near south of the border that has all those signs up the whole way. And the school had the auditorium, and they were going to hold the pageant in there. And then at rehearsal, the light people couldn't come. It was in the August, and the building had been shut the entire summer. And when they turned on the spotlights the night of the pageant, you could see them going through. It warmed up the gym. And as I'm standing on stage, I'm seeing something flying all around, darting through the spotlight. And of course, it's bats. And so I'm standing on stage, and Tony, I had on that big orange dress. You remember you used to call it the worst dress you'd ever seen.
And I would bet money it's still here.
Oh, I still have it.
I knew it.
It's not that bad. It was large, but it wasn't that bad. But all of a sudden, bats were in my skirt. And one of them had attached itself to the skirt because there was always a light on me and the warmth of the spotlight. Who knows? The man behind curtain had to come out and help me get the bat out of the big orange dress, which you called the Great Pumpkin.
Well, it would be good in October. Yeah, you could wear it.
But okay.
But this was not October.
And then when they got the bats and people realized the bats were flying all around, they cut some of the lights off and just kept a light on the stage. It was just funny. And then all of a sudden, with this having happened, there must have been a dog that hung around the school all summer too. Mangy dog came in the back door and walked down one of the side aisles coming toward the stage, just looking at people. And I had to stop the show because I said, whose dog is it? Who brought a dog? Is this a helping dog? What kind of dog? The dog just kept walking. And of course, people would turn as it went by. And he walked up on the stage through where the choir, I guess, sang at the Glee Club, and walked up on stage, sat down, and just looked around unconcerned about where he was. Now that is a funny-ish situation that I can't turn into a piece of material yet because it doesn't have a funny thing. You thought of anything, Patrick?
If I was you, I'd have grabbed my dress, looked at the dog, and said, "Don't even think about it."
Okay. Don't even come my way.
I'll bet you. Someone
got
said you
anything,
should have
Tony?
fed the dog the bat.
What'd you say?
Someone said you should have fed the dog the bat.
Oh gosh, no. But that's an example of holding a story. If you have seen the story, A Mother's Revenge, if you haven't seen it, you must, not now, don't leave the show, but you must go and watch A Mother's Revenge, because in that story, I kept a story for 29 years and then got the perfect punchline. And I'll tell you about that in the story, so I won't tell it now. So
Becky Allen said, "Who let the dog out?"
who? I should have done. Well, South Carolina is near Georgia. Who let the dog out? I could have. Oh, that's it. I should have said any Georgia fans here.
That's right. That's right.
That's
See,
it.
You're gonna
That's
get
it.
some help. You're gonna
Yeah.
get some help from your people on here. They're
No, it
gonna
wasn't
tell
a
you.
bulldog, but it was a cousin. And so who
Could have
who
been
let the dog out? Who? And of course, the Georgia fans leaped to their feet and started cheering back. And by the time y'all hear me do that, don't say that wasn't exactly the way it happened.
Yeah, so
Did somebody write that in, or did you think that?
oh no, it's coming across. A lot
No,
of people.
somebody wrote it.
You
thought
wrote
of-
it.
No,
Who-
somebody
Patrick,
did.
okay, well,
Let's
I'll have to
see.
look and see.
I
There's
put-
no commission on this. You
Yeah.
understand?
No royalties.
You don't get
No.
any royalty.
No, I'm going to double you what I'm paying Tony to come over here every Saturday for that great.
I
punchline.
thought Sunday would be double time, so I'm,
Oh, that's right. It's Sunday.
that's right.
Oh, and we were aware that church would let a lot of people need to watch this later. And so, but we were just looking to do, what is this? All these people. Okay. As an elderly lady in her shopping.
No, I wouldn't. Oh, that's Pat Amon.
Huh?
I thought I was reading it quick, thinking it may be a troll, but it's Pat, so it's
Okay.
safe.
You'll have to start getting rid of the trolls soon. Okay. All right. In a pageant at the Miss North Carolina pageant, they had told there were 84 contestants, and they had told everybody that you in the South, if at one of the meals they served fried chicken, you can do what with it? Pick it up with your fingers.
Absolutely.
You do not have to cut a piece of fried chicken and try to eat it like this. It is perfectly permissible. And the girls would always say, but the judges are there. The judges are there. And they'd say, no, they're going to be eating their fried chicken like everybody else. So the word scattered around among the girls, if they serve chicken, remember, you can pick it up. Don't let me pick it up and then y'all not do it. So everybody agreed that's what they were going to do. And then they had the big banquet, and they served boneless chicken breast under mushroom sauce. And two young of the contestants picked it up and looked around and said, we could do this. All right. You got anything better? No. Okay. I was at the Alabama Junior Miss pageant. I think I emceed it 8 years. It could have been 10 years. Some good friends of mine ran it, and it was different contestants every year. You had to be a senior in high school, and you had to have talent, and you had to be sharp, and you had to have grades. It was no swimsuit. It was just talent and grades. And but they were young to me. I was married and all of this, and Beaver was growing up. So I went in the dressing room one night, and I had my ukulele, and I was taking it because I was going to sing a song. This is back before people started paying me not to sing. And I was going to sing a song if I needed a break in them changing the props or something during the night. I had these little songs I would sing. And when I walked out, I heard one of these girls in Montgomery, Alabama say, "Oh, y'all, did you see how little the guitar looked next to her big body?" I wrote it up. I don't know why you would tell that, but it is true. And it was, if you think about it, a ukulele does look smaller than a guitar.
It is.
Well,
Someone wanted to know what's the most impressive
yeah, I was about to say that.
impressive talent that you have seen at a pageant.
Any talent done well. I've seen some talent. See, we went through an era where people thought the more props you had on stage, then they finally you wouldn't let you do this. Just come out and do your talent. And
Sounds like a speaking
comedy,
business.
I was singing the best I could, and they listed it as comedy. And to this day, that's irritated me, to tell you the truth. And
Have you listened to yourself sing?
yes, I have, and that's why Tony's still been here 42 years. She politely said, "Have you listened to yourself sing?" And I get but when they come out and they have been classically trained, they just blow the house away. And you look at each other and you know this is a possible winner on the state level or national level. They're that good. Of course, I also love it when you have some young woman who comes out and she's just having a good time and she's in the pageant. So I guess I'll tell you now about Whiteville. I hadn't even told you this. So they were having college students. It was the Miss something college down near Whiteville, North Carolina. Which one would that be?
I'm
in
not real sure.
Elizabeth City. Anyway, y'all will write in and tell me. I was emceeing the pageant, and it was the people that were working behind the curtain were also college students. These were just, you and I would say, they were just young kids. They weren't young. They were 18, 19, 20, but they were having a good time. And one of the contestants who had no talent, just no talent. So she was going to do a dramatic soliloquy is what she wanted me to say when I introduced her. And she was going to be in a graveyard because somebody had passed. And she was saying it was dramatic, but it was falling short. And she had moved on stage a casket, a complete casket, gotten it from the funeral home, and had things around, and then had tombstones behind. It was way over the top. And everybody thought, but she didn't really have any talent. Well, the next night, they put one of the college boys in the casket. And she didn't know he was in there. And so she was walking around and she was crying and she was going on and on and on. And the casket was there. And I think it was a grandmother or a mother or a spouse, And all of a sudden, when she was facing the audience, the casket went up about 3 or 4 inches and the audience went, and then it went down. Well, then the audience knew that somebody was in the casket. So she didn't know it, but she was on stage with somebody else. And she didn't know what happened. And she sort of looked around. I was standing over there off stage. And the next time she turned back over there, up it came again, just a little bit higher and then down. And the audience burst out laughing. And it wasn't like she was losing the Miss America, but she won. She should have won the pageant. She didn't, because when she caught out of the corner of her eye that casket was going down, she went over and sat down on it and never got up the rest of the time. I thought it was wonderful. I was hoping she would win, but she didn't. But see, so when you say what's the most impressive thing, I think for her to go over there and sit on the top and he's trying to push it up and it ain't going anywhere. That's what I remember. I can't help it.
I think I got a punchline to your dog story.
Oh, good.
It was inspired by was it Linda Stevens? Elaine Stevenson. But afterwards, somebody said, "Did you see that dog on stage?" And somebody else said, "Give her a break. She's got a great personality."
That's terrible.
Did y'all hear that? Give her a break. She's got a great personality. That's a winner. Who is that?
Well, Elaine Stevenson said, "Sounds like a real dog won the beauty pageant." That made me think of that.
Okay.
Very good.
She didn't send the whole thing in. I won't send her in. Okay. I was in the Texas Junior Miss during rehearsal. I pulled a leg muscle. The host we stayed with wouldn't. Oh, it's gone. You hid it.
Look on the screen.
Oh, the host we stayed with wouldn't turn on their heater. My muscle spasm was horrible. The girl who won the pageant passed me up while I was trying to dance to my position, and I was so embarrassed. Well, I think that's interesting. Not quite ready. I had to work on that a while, but a muscle, just that.
It'd been fun if you tripped her up.
A lot of people hate pageants. think about them as a small town talent show. Same type thing. All right, Patrick, speaking of talent, I was just in Texas and I wrote down, I told them in the pop-up that you were going to I was going to ask you to sing the song you wrote about the boots. And then when I said it to you, you said, I have another song prepared for yesterday.
And it was about Texas.
Had I known you were going to turn your computer camera off, I wouldn't. I would have just gone with it.
You would have saved the song. Do the one about the boots.
Okay.
Because everybody wears. This was a formal thing I did night before last. So,
well, they've got formal boots.
They got formal boots. These people dress up. Trust me. All right, your show.
So I wrote this song, and I always, whenever I introduce it, and I don't play it that often, but when I do, I always say, if you ever talk to me between 1994 and 2004, there's a good chance I was wearing a pair of cowboy boots. I loved wearing my boots. And when I got married, somehow those boots disappeared. And so a few years later, I was heading out to Texas to give a speech, and I was in the closet. And for some reason, I looked in the back of the closet, and there they were. And I got so excited. I sat down on the floor and I put them on, and they fit perfect. And so when I got to the airport, I went to get them shined. And the guy said something to me. And so I just pulled out my phone and I started writing the lyrics to this song. It's half an hour until I board for Dallas. I decide I've got time for a shine. Sit back in his chair. He rolls up my cuff over my old boots, his eyes meet mine. He tells me that these boots are on their last leg. The leather's wearing thin and there's a hole. The heels are worn down at an angle, and I can't buff out the scars. They've just about lost all their soul. I said these boots have walked halfway across Texas, circled round 1,000 sawdust floors. Once they even walked out on my family, but turned around before they ever reached the door. These boots may be all scuffed and tattered, and on the bottom's worn a hole. Just shine them up and try to make them better. But buddy, don't tell me these boots ain't got no soul. I remember Daddy standing in the doorway as these boots walked away that final time. They pounded unforgiving pavement, helped me stand my ground, gain traction in my need to toe the line. These boots have held me steady when on bended knee. Twice they have paced hospital floors. Been to all corners of this country. Kicked open more than one of life's doors. These boots may be all scuffed and tattered, on the bottom's worn a hole. Just shine them up and try to make them better. But don't you tell me that these boots ain't got no soul. These boots may be all scuffed and tattered, I've got a few scars of my own. A little love will only make us better. If you look deep at our soul, you'll see that we've all got a few more miles to go. We've got a few more miles to go.
Woo! Woo!
Thank you.
Woo! Applaud, mother-in-law. Woo! You got your camera. Your camera, your phone.
I was
like
just going to say you might want to give away a couple more prizes.
okay. Patrick, I love that song.
Thank you.
Okay.
I like it too.
Okay. All right. Now, I want y'all to think I'm looking at the names. Here comes one, and this is from the April bunch. We start over every month. Bev Gullett, Gullatt. Bev Gullett. Okay, Bev, that's you can call and write Tony and tell her what you want, anything but the audio book. And we heard from somebody who got the audio book and gave it to somewhere. So thank you.
Oh, by the way, y'all,
What?
y'all be sure to share this to your Facebook pages. For those of y'all watching it on Facebook,
Why?
I don't know. I just think it'd be nice to
Okay,
boost our numbers.
Oh, talking about the one we get, that one of your prize winners chose
Gave it.
to give it to ask us to give it to a person who had written asking, saying he hoped they won because he wanted it for the residents
And he
of
wrote a
his
thank
senior.
you.
And he wrote us yesterday and showed pictures of them viewing, having
Oh, wow.
a Jeannie day or whatever, and said that the audiobook they provided, they have a CD player and they can check it out and take it home and to their room and
Uh-huh.
listen to it and then turn it back in,
Fantastic.
So that
Okay.
worked out really
Makes you
well.
feel good.
Mhm.
That lady, did you get some tickets for one of my
Yeah,
shows for her?
she's
Okay.
her name is Heather, and she's going to
Ship
join
Shalom.
us in
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach. She lives in
Okay.
Myrtle Beach.
All right.
So
Here's
August,
the name I
we're
pulled
hoping.
out, and the people have been watching what I do with this. If I had put this down, they would have boom, because
Yeah, that's
I want to. All right, this is a winner, Sylvia Lemley, Lemley. Hello from Ohio. First time watching. This was this month. So Sylvia Lemley. Okay, and let me get another one. I'll look over here, and the same deal goes. All this stuff we got back here. This is a big question right here. What is this? They're stapled together. Oh, I think we chopped off the person's name in trying to get hurry. Sheila Skaggs, Scaggs Hicks, Hicks, 3 names. Sheila Skaggs Hicks. So you have also won. Okay. I have a little bitty clock that I got that I thought I went upstairs to get. It was when I went upstairs and turned around 2 or 3 times and couldn't remember why I went up there. First time I got a story here I want to tell. I got several more. So, okay.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. Somebody just said, when are you coming down to Tampa? And that reminded me because Leslie is flying back from Tampa right now where she was visiting Neen this
The
weekend.
speaker.
Yeah. And so anyhow, Meredith and I were.
This was her girls away trip.
Yeah. Well,
I
this
remember.
is just down there with Neen. They live in Tampa. Saw our friend Tammy. But she texted Meredith last night. She said, I love you and I miss you. And
Meredith is now what? 12?
She's 12. And Meredith called her. She said, what's wrong, Mommy? What's wrong? She said, what do you mean, what's wrong? She goes, that's the kind of message somebody sends if their plane is going down.
That's terrible. That's good.
That's your,
Okay,
that's your-
I'm going to tell this one. I've got checked off. Okay. I had a speech in Kansas City, and it was to the military pharmacist. And we love the military. We appreciate the military, appreciate anybody who serves, and their family gives up a lot too. And I liked it because they're all so good looking in these uniforms, and they have short hair, and it's yes sir, and sort of back and forth. But of course, the speech was fine. They still wanted a humorist because they wanted to laugh. And then they said that 2 people would meet me at what time and take me back to the Kansas City airport. The Kansas City airport is a long distance from downtown to me. It's not right in downtown. So we had a little trip going back. And when they arrived, both of them were military, and they were going to drive me back. One got in the front seat. One was what we would call the shotgun seat, sitting over here on the right, and I'm in the back. Well, y'all know me. I was a 45-minute trip. I got to try to engage people in conversation. But everything that I would say to them, I would lean up before the back seat and I would say, what do you do? Where are you from? On and on and on. And every answer was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, Boston, ma'am. And I just sat back. So I have a question that always seems to work if I'm not in the South. And I leaned over the front and I said, have either of y'all ever spent time in the South? And the one driving, very serious, said, no, ma'am. And that was it. He had cut that off. And then the other guy sat there for maybe 5 miles. And he said, ma'am, I'm from way up north, but I've been thinking about it. And I guess I have gone not to the South to visit, but through the South, because we drove one time from where I live down to Disney World. Well, now you can't get to Disney World from somewhere like New Jersey without going through the South unless you creep up by boat or go around through California and try to fly. I mean, he went through the South.
You're going to pass a snake farmer too.
You're going to pass the state. You're going to pass a place on the side of the road where we're selling pictures of Elvis and Velveteen.
And
you
peanuts.
Just got to come south. But I said, oh, well, that's great. And then we rode on in total silence. I just couldn't engage them. And I knew that was what they were supposed to do. Their job was to drive. But the guy in the shotgun seat, I guess he started feeling bad about it. And he finally turned and he said, ma'am, I have to tell you the truth. I've never even tasted a grit. Well, I said, he said, you probably won't believe that. And I said, no, I believe that. And I sat back and I thought I just couldn't let it rest. And I leaned up and I said, do me a favor though. If you do get south, order yourself a grit or two. And I said, but really don't get more than that, because the grit is a big fluffy thing. And there's nothing a Southerner hates to see worse than is a grit going back to the kitchen on a plate. And then he said, ma'am, thank you. I'll remember that, which made me feel embarrassed because I was pulling his. Now, if you don't understand calling them a grit is funny, I lost you a long time ago, because they are called grits.
You should have said, if you eat them one at a time, you never will taste them.
You can taste them all at one time or one at a time.
Well,
you're not ever going to hear anything.
There's a story that I used to tell, and actually I took it from Ralph Hood, our good friend.
Oh,
but
yeah,
he tells the story about driving through North Alabama, and he's got a friend in the car, and they're driving past cotton fields, cotton on either side of the highway. And his friend from up north had never seen cotton before. And so he was like, what is all that? And Ralph turned to him and said, ain't you ever seen grits before in full bloom?
Well, so I was on the Neil Steele show, and right after this happened, and I was listening in. I always listen in before I go on so I can coattail into what they're talking about. And they were talking about what's the difference. A woman named Reese Williams was on the show with him at that time. Everybody liked her. Neil liked her, but I think she married and moved somewhere else. But she was saying she never has eaten grits either. Never tasted any grits. I hadn't even eaten one grit, which would be tough to do. She grew up eating polenta. I hope you people in the northern area, ears just perked up, because polenta, she said, where I grew up, we ate polenta. We wouldn't even think of having grits. And when I came on, I said, okay, I've been hearing your discussion about the polenta and the grits. Reese, what's the difference in grits and polenta? And just like that, she said, polenta is just grits who knows somebody. I wrote that up as fast as I could, because it was.
Well, let me just go ahead and say this. If you put sugar on your grits, they're not grits anymore.
No. I went in, the other big thing we have in the South, that's country ham. And I know exactly where I was in. I was in Pennsylvania, and that's not that far up there if you think about it. And I said to the waitress, she said they had something, and she said a choice of sausage or ham. And I said, is it country ham? And this young woman said, well, all pigs grow up out in the country.
Not that city ham.
I'll have sausage.
Don't have a lot of pigs living in the city, do we?
No.
That's pretty much how you
Okay.
define
All
the
right.
country. If you see a pig, it's the country.
Got 10 minutes.
Oh, good.
What about
Which story?
red eye gravy?
Oh, the red eye gravy. Well, since we're on pigs.
Well, and you sort of fits.
A southern treat is red eye gravy, country ham, and red eye gravy. I know everybody's going to write in and start telling me how they cook it and so forth. But when Left Brain and I got married, I'm not a cook. Y'all know I'm not a cook. I don't know anything about it. But he loved his mother's country ham, the ones we're talking about, real salty, way too, I didn't say it was good for your health. I'm just saying it's good if you can get it. And then you make, because you fried the ham, you make red eye gravy. But I didn't know how to do it. So I thought, I'm going to learn how to do this. And I'm going to make country ham for Left Brain one morning and red eye gravy. And I'm going to get some biscuits out of some frozen sack that you can get in the grocery store and throw them in there and cook, because I didn't know how to make biscuits. And I called his mother's, wanted his mother's recipe. His mother was not available for the recipe. So I called my grandmother down in Luverne, Alabama. And she said, well, I bet I know the recipe that Jerry's mother has used and that you've eaten all this time. She said, here's what you do. You fry the country ham and then do it in a big skillet. It had to be in a black skillet, not a regular one that you can rinse off.
Cast iron.
Not a frying
Cast
pan.
iron. Oh, you can't even pick it up. We keep one under the bed to hit somebody that came in to get us. That's the best use I ever found for one. And she said, you fry all your country ham and leave the drippings in the pan. And the fat, cook it too. Keep cooking it down. Cook it down and cook it down. And that's going to make the red eye when you pour off your gravy. And I said, okay. And she said, then you put in a tablespoon of coffee and stir, and pour it out. And you got your red eye and you got your gravy. She didn't say anything about cooking the coffee. So I did everything she said, just right down the fried stuff, and the smoke was everywhere, and took this out. And I thought if 1 tablespoon of coffee would help it, I just throw in like 2 or 3 of coffee grinds. And I stirred them up in there, and I didn't see any soup. I didn't see any red eye gravy. I didn't see anything, but I poured it out and put it on the table in front of Left Brain. And he poured the gravy all down on his stuff and started eating it. And then you do this kind of thing. Well, what do you think? And he said, well, I think it's the first time I've ever had red eye gravy caught in between all my teeth.
That's funny.
So that works. Okay. So now we're going to I'm looking at my list. Where's my little list over here?
While you're looking for it, you were asking Jerry's mother for the recipe. So I grew up in Alabama, but I was actually born in Silver Spring, Maryland, because Dad was working for the government, or he was actually a lobbyist.
But your mama was from Texas.
Oh yeah, and Dad's from Mississippi.
Okay.
But anyway, so we lived in Olney, Maryland for a few years, and we were the only non-Jewish family in an all-Jewish neighborhood. So by the time I moved to Alabama, I was the only kid in my class who liked chopped liver and bagels. This is before bagels made it to the South. Lox. I loved it. I love all that. And I loved chopped liver so much that there was a woman in my neighborhood in Nashville, an older Jewish woman, who I told her I would mow her yard if she'd make me chopped liver. And so, and it's not easy to make, but our good friend Mike Frank, who is an agent, books both of us, and are used to before COVID. He lived in Ohio at the time, and Mike is Jewish, and his mother had a recipe for chopped liver that his wife learned to make. It was so good, whenever he would book me in Columbus, I would have it written in the contract, chopped liver.
Oh God.
Now, I didn't speak just for liver, but I had that in addition to my fee. So
Well, have been when we have a guest that is with us on a show, they come in the night earlier. We
mhm.
go out to eat. Tony and Tom go, and Patrick and Leslie usually go. I mean, we just take the team and go out to eat. And if somebody orders liver, what do?
You
Oh,
build
she
a
puts up
wall
a
around
menu.
yourself.
I book all the menus all the way around me because I can't
Yes.
stand it.
Yes.
So that's
I don't know why. I love it.
Well, you got it as a child.
Well, I think some people taste things differently than others.
Your good Baptist mother doesn't drink it for you all the time.
Shouldn't what?
She doesn't bake it for you. Make it. Do you bake it? Fry it? What do you do with
No,
chocolate?
you don't want to cook it at home.
No. Okay. Well, I'll let somebody else do that for me. Okay. Now we're going to give away. Are there any announcements? Grand Ole Opry next week.
People have been good about ordering ahead, but they need to keep on if they want something for Mother's Day. The post
right.
office is doing really well right now, but I know they're going to get a push closer to Mother's Day, so it could slow down.
Is Mother's Day the 9th?
It's the second Sunday in May.
Yeah,
So it's this year it's the 9th.
And listen, the best way to show your mother that you love them is to go to storejeannerobertson.com and purchase an audio book.
Oh, gets a percentage of the audio book.
I mean, nothing says love like an audio book.
That's
Jeanne
tacky.
Robertson's 7-hour and 26-minute
If
CD
you're not
set.
from the South and you don't understand the word tacky, you just had it.
Well, they may not understand tacky, but they all understand commission.
That's right. Okay, well, wait. Here's that thing right here.
Yes.
And now you corrected me. I said it was 7 hours, 20 minutes. You said it's 7 hours and 26 minutes.
Is that not right?
No, it's right.
You're the one who did the mechanical
That's
stuff
what it
on
is.
it.
What's it say on the
7 hours plus 7+ hours. That's safe enough.
that plus is 26 minutes.
This is going to be for the person here that wins this, has 7 CDs in it. That doesn't mean all of them are an hour and a half or an hour like mine usually are, because we can't end in the middle of a story. I either finish up a story or not start another one. But if you don't we made a few of these. You can do it like this, can't you, Patrick? You can download it you don't have to. How do they download it if they don't want CDs?
They don't hold their finger up and do that, but
download it.
just go like this, y'all. No, if you want to download the audio version of the book, and so you go to there you go, storejeannerobertson.com, click on the audio tab, and we're working with Dan Huff and his team, and what you do, and it's easy to follow the prompts, but you download an app to your phone, and then you can get all the content straight to your phone or your iPad, and then you can plug it into your car and listen to it however you want. Okay. It's wonderful.
Well, there you go. That's what you do.
And if you can't do it,
CDs,
get in touch.
We get a few of these, and we've got a few left. And you get a commission if they download it too.
Yes, I do.
Do you get a commission if they download? That's the way I do on the computer.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's funny because, I've been showing you how to use your new laptop, and I think that we hit a real, something changed though, when I said, don't mash, press. Okay. And things got better.
Okay. And that's what I'm trying to do, because I would go like that. Yep. And it wouldn't catch enough.
So no, press it.
We'll be back here next week. I will be in Nashville, but Patrick and Tony, y'all gonna be on the porch.
We plan to.
Yeah, okay. We will.
And
you're gonna not hit any FH, right?
Well, the Nashville people.
She will not be eating Pringles.
You're not allowed to eat over your
All right, let's give this away to somebody. And if you don't want this one, you can certainly go back and get what the other things we've described. But it's the most valuable one. And it's the one that if you don't use it, there are places you can give it that people can take them to their room and watch it a while and come back and share it. So you get the idea. Huh?
They can listen to it. They can watch it, but they're not going to see much. No, right?
That's video, Tony.
You said they can take it to their room and watch it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So they can listen to it.
All right. Here's the winner, this week's winner. And it is... Well, he made a comment. You never give a hint of being on edge. Okay.
Okay.
Got one person fooled.
Okay.
Maurice Radford.
Maurice.
Maurice Radford.
All right.
Okay. Y'all, if you've had a good time, I will be back and I'll have more stories next week. And I'm going to go back now and read every comment that you make because we do that every week. And if I don't respond to everyone, it's because my fingers get tired and sometimes we have a lot. And this will be on, well, we have a lot every week. It winds up being on up there. But I read everything, try to take notes and do all of that. So you're going to hit the music that plays me off?
I will. As soon as you say,
Y'all
keep
have a
laughing.
great week. Keep laughing. Find some humor. Find some humor. It's everywhere.
She's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson.